Now there are actually variations on the way the points can be assigned in the board account method. So here is an example. The Cy Young Award is an annual award given by Major League Baseball for the quote-unquote best pitcher in each league. So one award for the American League and one for the National League. For the National League Award, there are 32 voters, and the voters are going to be baseball writers, 2 from each of the 16 cities that have a National League team. And each voter submits a truncated preference ballot with a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth choice. So remember, under a truncated preference ballot, that means out of all of the pitchers that they would have available, from all of the National League teams, out of that pool of pitchers, they just want them to pick their top 5 pitchers. Now there is a modification in the Cy Young calculations that went into effect for the first time in the 2010 award season, is that the first place is actually going to be worth 7 points rather than the typical 5. Now the other places in the ballot count just as it would in a regular board account. So there's going to be 4 places for second, 3 for third, 2 points for fourth place, and then 1 point for fifth. And the idea here is to give extra value to your first place votes. The gap between a first and a second place should maybe be bigger than the gap between the second and the third place. Now this table below shows your top 5 finalists for the 2011 National League Cy Young Award. So we're going to find the ranking of the top 5 finalists and the number of points each one has received. Okay, so the number of points each one received is called their board account. Now this table is a little bit different than the ones that we've been normally looking at. Normally we have the rankings of the first through fifth place over here off to the side, but I want you to notice instead here we actually have the pitchers' names. The rankings is going to be across the top of the row, where normally we would have the number of voters up there, but on this table the number of voters is actually going to be found in the heart of the table. Now let's remind ourselves about how we're going to be assigning our points. Okay, so we have first place, second, third, fourth, and fifth place. Alright, so normally in board account then, the last place is assigned the least number of points, so 1 point, and then you count up from there. Okay, so then fourth place would be 2 points, third place would be 3 points, second place would be 4 points, but first place in this case, as opposed to being the typical 5 points, they're going to adjust it to 7 points. So one thing I want to point out, this formula that we used, this S is equal to V times C plus 1 all over 2, this formula no longer applies unless you have your full preference schedule. So in the fact that we're using these truncated ballots, so we don't actually have all the candidates, and then an additional complication for this formula is that this is a modified point system. Okay, so this doesn't follow the normal starting at 1 and counting up. So because of those 2 factors, you will not be able to use this formula to find the total number of points that is available in the selection. So let's go ahead and actually figure out then what the board accounts are for each of these different pitchers. Alright, so for Halliday, alright, so we've got 4 people right here that gave him first place. So remember, every first place vote is worth 7 points. 21 people gave him second place. So then you're going to have 21 people that gave him 4 points. 7 people gave him third place for 3 points each. And then he has no fourth place and no fifth place votes. So if you want, you can include that in your calculation, but ultimately those just end up being zeros. Alright, so if we throw all this in our calculator, we get the board account for Halliday is 133 points. So we're just going to complete this process for the other pitchers. So again, I would encourage you to try to do their board accounts on their own and then verify them against my calculations. Alright, so next for Cole Hamels. Alright, so he has 0 people that had him first, 0 for second, 0 for third. Alright, so I have 2 people that gave him a fourth place vote. Okay, so 2 people gave him 2 points. And then down here, 13 people gave him 1 point. So overall, he got 17 points. For Kennedy, he got 1 first place vote. Let's see, 3 second place votes. 6 third place votes for 3 points each. 18 fourth place votes. And 3 fifth place votes, with a total then of 76 points. For Kershaw, he had 27 first place votes, 3 second place votes at 4 points each, 2 third place votes at 3 points each, and then no fourth and no fifth. So overall then that would be 207 points. And then finally for Lee, there was no first place votes. He got 5 second place votes at 4 points each, 17 third place votes, 9 fourth place votes at 2 points each, and then 1 fifth place vote at 1 point, for an overall total of 90 points. Alright, so then my overall ranking then, so looking at this, first place would be Kershaw. Now keep in mind, I want the overall ranking. So I don't want to just find the winner, I want to rank all of these top 5 finalists. So then the next highest one, so second place, would be Halliday. Third place would be Lee. Fourth place would be Kennedy. And fifth place then would be Hamels.